Wednesdays we've looked at pedagogy, we've had sessions delivered by specialist staff within this school and from the LGMU, we've had Senko leads, and then we've also had experiences where we've been able to go to different schools such as primary. We went to Runworth, which was a special SEND school. We've been to a religious school, Ladybridge, an EAL school, so we've got loads of different skills from every Wednesday session, I think.
Yeah, so I like the first ITAP with the routines and responses, because I feel like it's like, especially the ones at the start, before you actually went into the classroom, it was like building up them original skills that you needed, so that when you went into the classroom it wasn't like, oh, someone's misbehaving, what do I do now? It was like, okay, so in the Wednesday session I did this, and then you can look back on it to kind of use it then in your actual teaching, not in the classroom.
Overall, just it gives you that chance to put things into practice, and we've been able to, for example, right at the start, some of us might have been more nervous. I know I was, to speak in front of everybody, but we've had opportunities to develop our communication and apply some of our teaching training.
I think they were good opportunities to actually gel as a team, to actually feel like we're all in the same boat and that we're all sharing the same journey and challenges and difficulties together.
That's a nice thing to add.
Come out the other.
Yeah, and to like magpie ideas, because I know me and you were both in year 2, so it's like we've had quite a nice communications, and if what you've learned and you've taken away, something that I might have not actually seen.
What works, what doesn't work.
I remember I said something in a session like ages ago, and then someone came, I think it was Zed, came to me and was like, oh Molly, I used your idea in my interview or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's so nice.
I think that Evie's mine definitely was behaviour management, and I think as well subject knowledge, but the subject knowledge sessions definitely help. But like with the ITAP, we look through different ways to build in routines and expectations, and I think the main thing I took away was just consistency.
Yeah.
Like a little thing like that you wouldn't even think about, and it's had a massive impact on my teaching career.
I was most nervous because my subject's mainly sixth form, and because I'm 22, like I literally feel like I'm the same age as them. So originally going into it, I was like, how do I act as the teacher rather than like someone who's like 3 years older than them? But in terms of like the Wednesday sessions and then like establishing them routines, and especially the one last week which was more like focused on sixth form, I feel like with that then you can kind of use that to make that kind of teacher presence in the room, so it's not like you're only just a little bit older than them.
Yeah, I think my nervousness was just leading the classroom, and again having the confidence to actually lead a lesson, putting in those routines and having those high expectations. So I definitely think the Wednesday sessions have helped everybody progress. I mean, if we were to, like Joe said, if we were to see what we're like at the beginning to now, it's a massive difference, I think, for everybody.
I think I was most nervous thinking I'm the oldest of the group and coming in a bit of a mum of the team, so I feel pleased that it has ended up as nice as it is and supportive, and that I've managed to get through the year. Obviously I've got, I think, am I the only one with children as well? Yeah. So I have 4 children on top of what I'm doing, working full time, or being a student full time. So I was a bit worried and nervous that I wouldn't be able to fit everything in, or that I'd be like trying to do everything with my eyes shut because I'd be shattered, but no, we've survived, and the mentors and the people in school have been super helpful, so I've overcome getting on top of behaviour management. That was a big challenge for me, but everything else in terms of subject knowledge and planning was more my forte.
Yeah, I think mine on the flip side was more of the planning. Like before I came here, I observed a lot of teachers, and I didn't see the end point, and it's like how you can deconstruct the curriculum. I think it's been so broken down and so made accessible for everybody to see how it ends to that point. So like all the skill lessons and looking at different waggles and all different stuff, it's been really brought down and so explicit to what we need to do, and that's been so useful for my development.
Stay on top of your work. I think time management's important, so I mean even from the perspective of planning lessons as well as actually keeping on top of your own Google Drive, I think that's essential, and I think that's my big takeaway as well.
I like the session with Damon about modelling, because I think a lot of the time you don't consider that they need to actually understand how to get to that point first, like that thinking out loud, rather than just saying like this is the answer. You need to explain the process and model how you actually get to that. So I think them sessions on modelling were really helpful.
I think for me, scaffolding, because you yourself expect students to get things straight away. You think, I've explained that in the most simplest way possible, but there's so many different ways you can break it down to then lead into that final answer and help them understand it, and also learning other ways to teach your subject, because there could be various ways that students learn what you're teaching them. So yeah, scaffolding.
I feel like one thing, it's really hard to come up with one thing. The first thing when you asked me that question that I thought of was, I remember we had a session on cognitive load, and I can't remember who it was with, but kind of I feel like that for whatever reason has just kind of really stuck with me and my kind of teaching philosophy, and kind of always thinking, because I remember sitting in the session going, and he was saying, you know, children can only keep what, like 3 or 4 things in their memory at once, I think it was. And I thought, oh my gosh, like even just the lesson I did the day before, I was asking them like so much to remember. And I feel like now that's kind of really at the forefront when I'm planning of, okay, Miss Wilson, you know, how much are you actually asking them to do in this point? And could I even do it as a, you know, as a 22-year-old, let alone a 7-year-old? So I feel like that's been really, really helpful for me.
Like breaking down the small steps and stuff, and not just jumping, because that was a tricky one for me, definitely in phase 1 and 2. I felt like I jumped a bit too much, and all the feedback I've had since coming back off my alternatives is how effective my deconstruction of any unit has been, and I think that is genuinely down to different specialists and experts and watching them observations. So now I'm going into a year 5 class, which is a bigger jump than the year 2 class I'm in now. That is one of my key teaching takeaways.
Mine is to set my stall out and be really clear from the outset in terms of behaviour management, getting through the lessons. Yes, I've learned to deconstruct the lessons so that they're explicit, and the routines of Rose and Shine and how it works, because it's really effective to maximise their learning. Did have one more, but it's just gone.
Yeah, well, following on, I feel like routines, that was something I think was mentioned in, it was either phase 1 or phase 2 review, and then kind of after I moved into year 5 at Edgerton, I made sure, because that was kind of a new start for me, that I went in very explicit, this is what I expect, and that has kind of, I mean, that's worked, so yeah, I'm happy.